O'clock, and I'm going to call this meeting to order. We are the Putnam County Planning Commission, and there are a few items of business we need to attend to before the meeting begins and before we hear our one and only case. I would like to announce that case R21-015, which is on Shrine Club Road, was withdrawn by the applicant prior to signs going up, but after the letters went out. So if anyone's here regarding that rezoning case on Shrine Club Road, it has been withdrawn by the applicant. Also, there are a few things that I would like to bring the board up to date on and share with the board. And please bear with me. I'm going to speak in generalities, and I'm not doing this for discussion. I'm just doing this as a matter of bringing the board up to date on a couple of situations that we need to be ever mindful of and continue to make sure we follow. We've got to remember that ex parte communication between members of this board and members of the public prior to a case being heard regarding a case is something that we have to refrain from. There are penalties for this that are set forth in Florida statute, and we have to be careful that we avoid having anything where we are giving the appearance of impropriety. I know we have casual conversation on many occasions with people of the public, even applicants, about a case. But we can't make any commitments, and we can't take up the cause and fight the cause for the applicant. We have to judge every case that comes before us on the basis of merit, based on the comprehensive plan, based on the land development code. The other thing, and this was something again from the last meeting, if there are questions of staff while we are on the record and the meeting is in process, those questions need to be made on the record. Sidebar communication with a staff member in private during a meeting is highly questionable. So if you need to ask staff a question, if it's important enough to ask them, it's important enough to be asked in public. So I do encourage everyone, ask those questions. We are here to get the facts and get the information so that we know what we're doing when we're doing it. Finally, and this one's tough for me to talk about, but I was encouraged to do so by not one, not two, but 3 members of the Board of County Commissioners. You all know that we left here at our last meeting with a tie vote on one of our cases. And a couple of you expressed concerns based on ideology and not on the merits and the viability of that particular ordinance for Putnam County. I respect each and every one of you, and I don't care what your ideology is. I care what your integrity is. And I know each one of you sitting here at this dais today has top flight, utmost integrity. And you have my total respect. But I would encourage you to think closely about how we make our motion, that this, I move that we accept or deny this particular case because it is or is not in compliance with the Putnam County Land Development Code and the Putnam County Comprehensive Plan. Those are our guide stones when we're making a decision here. Yes, there are times when we absolutely have to go beyond that and say yes or no based on our own personal beliefs. But I respect each one of you to know the difference and to be sure that we are acting in the best interest of Putnam County. That ordinance did go on to pass unanimously at both readings by the County Commission with absolutely no public input. So with that being said, I will ask again, does anyone have any conflict of interest with the case before us today? Anyone have any ex parte communication that they need to disclose that would affect their voting? Okay. Just remember that as a member of the Putnam County Planning Commission, I pledge to come to meetings prepared for the items on the agenda, willing and ready to listen carefully and courteously to make informed decisions based on the facts presented and what I feel is in the best interest of the people and businesses of Putnam County. I will refrain from unnecessary interruptions, and I will be appreciative and respectful toward applicants, members of the staff, and other members of this commission. I will support the decisions made by the majority, and I will be fair and objective in all that I do as a member of the Putnam County Planning Commission. With that being said, I'll get to read more. This is a public hearing, and we are the Putnam County Planning Commission. We are the designated local planning agency for the county as described under Title 11, Chapter 163 of the Florida statutes, and we function under the authority of Articles 11 and 12 of the Putnam County Land Development Code. The primary responsibility of the Commission is to serve as an advisory body to hear and make recommendations of the Board of County Commissioners on matters related to provisions of and proposed amendments to the Putnam County Comprehensive Plan and the Putnam County Land Development Code. The members of this committee will review each application and make a recommendation to the BOCC at a regularly scheduled meeting on September 28th. If I put my glasses on, I might be able to read it better. 2021. Procedurally, we will call each case by name and number. A member of staff will then briefly explain to us the nature of each request. We will take comments from the applicant or their representative, followed by any public comments concerning the request. Please direct all comments or statements to the Commission and not other people in the audience. Before speaking, we will ask each person to be recognized, come forward to the lectern, and identify his or herself by name and address. After all people wishing to speak have been heard, we will entertain a motion from the Commission. The motion will be voted on by the Commission members and become our recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners. The Board of County Commissioners will make final determination regarding this application on September 28th, 2021. The first case to be heard is R21-014. Wendy?
This is R21-014. The applicant is Whitney and Michael Davis. It's a zoning map amendment for a single parcel from residential R2 to ag. The property is located at 229 Point Sienna Drive in Interlochen. The parcel is designated Ag 1 on the future land use map. The parcel is 4.69 acres in size, approximately 327 feet frontage on Point Sienna Drive. There's no known wetlands or special flood hazard areas, and the parcel is vacant. This is a aerial of the parcel, future land use, zoning. The agricultural one category consists of areas used for cropland, pasture, and other agricultural activities, vacant land and residential parcels, some of which exceed the allowable density of one dwelling unit per 10 acres, down to one dwelling unit per 5 acres. This property is within the Interlochen Gardens Section 2 subdivision, vested by the county staff August 31st, 1998, which permits residential development despite inconsistency with the density with the comprehensive plan. The proposed agriculture zoning is more compatible with the Agricultural 1 future land use policies due to the agricultural uses allowed and the larger lot sizes required by the district. The existing R2 zoning district is to provide a residential zoning district that is inclusive of mobile homes. The use categories allowed within the R2 district are residential single-family, mobile homes, and community residential homes having 6 or less residents. The proposed zoning is to implement the agricultural 1 and 2 land use classification shown on the Putnam County future land use map. The use categories allowed in the ag district is residential single-family, agricultural general. Certain allowable uses in the ag district are artificial ponds that are 5 acres or less in size, livestock, residential, and mobile homes. The future land use designation of Ag 1 and the proposed ag zoning is consistent with the future land use designation. The uses associated with the requested ag zoning district are allowed within the Ag 1 land use category. Point Sienna Drive is an unpaved road maintained under the MSBU program. Development on this site will be served by well and septic system permitted by the Department of Health. And again, there's no wetlands, flood hazard areas, and the surrounding land uses are residential. The findings and the recommendations, the staff finds that the proposed rezoning to ag is consistent with the comprehensive plan and the future land use map, consistent with locational requirements for ag zoning, compatible with the surrounding uses. Staff recommends the approval of the request to amend the zoning map from residential to R2 to agricultural for the subject parcel.
Thank you. Any questions of staff? Wendy, the only question I would have is this Interlocking Gardens Section 2, that's a platted subdivision?
That is one of the interlocking subdivisions that have been out there for many years, and over the years, the county has vested a majority of them, and which ends up being smaller lots, a higher density at the end of the day. Having the two lots within that subdivision put together as the one with the ag, it actually reduces it, yes, by one, but one is
So we're
is
going to be
something.
okay going to an agricultural zoning on this?
Excuse me?
We're moving this to ag, right?
Yes, from R2. R2 is the minimum requirement for a size of an Ag 2 lot is 7,500 square feet. And the ag is 1 acre.
The ag is 1 acre in that subdivision?
In our land development code. So he meets,
Okay.
for the ag zoning
Okay.
district, the minimum size for ag is 1 acre.
Okay, for the zoning, okay. Gotcha. I was thinking land use. Okay. Anything else for Wendy? Is the applicant here? Yes, go ahead. Somebody had, would you like to come forward and speak? Please give us your name and address, and we'd love to hear you.
Davis. It's 229 Ponciana Drive, Interlaken, Florida, 32148. And the reason why we want to do agricultural is my wife runs a construction business, and I'm on disability.
Okay.
I'm bipolar disorder. I'm a threat to coworkers. I can't really be out, get a regular job working with people. So to keep myself occupied and not going crazy, I want to do fruit trees. I want to do like peach trees, lime trees, apple trees, cherry trees. And I have enough of the land in front because we eventually want to put a house in the back, but the front part of the property is where we want to do all the fruit trees.
Okay.
And so basically it'd be like, on average, like 80 fruit trees altogether. Because I want to go from one end of the property to the other end, and probably about 215 feet back from the property line, all fruit trees with a circle drive.
Okay.
We do have a well already put on the property. We're doing a solar well.
Okay.
So it be able to, and we had the well dug deep enough that we'd be able to provide sprinkler systems and everything to support water and all the fruit trees, keeping everything intact, and for future home use, and to have plenty of water and it
Awesome.
not run dry. And I mean, that's pretty much it. It's just basically want to convert to agricultural, do the fruit trees, and keep myself from going insane staring at walls.
Keep you
'Cause
busy.
My wife stays pretty busy, and I just deal with the children
Okay.
while I sit at home all day.
Sounds like a plan to me. Any questions of our applicant? Okay, thank you very much for coming forward. Anybody in the audience who would like to speak for or against this particular application? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing portion of this meeting and bring it back to the board for discussion and/or motion to vote.
Madam Chair, I have a question. Is there any other property in this area that's ag, or is it all R2?
It is all R2 or surrounding it, and there's a lot of it that has not been built out yet. But at this point, this is the only ag lot.
Could he grow trees on an R2 zoning?
He would not be able to get any kind of accessory structure, which in this case would have been his well house, and because only an ag type of zoning would allow for up to 250 square foot accessory building prior to the building of a home. In the R2 district, the house, number one, must come first, and So basically, with the R2, he couldn't even get his well house.
Okay.
And that's really, I believe, the original catalyst of him coming in and asking for that, because we could not approve any kind of accessory before the primary in an R2 zoning district.
Okay. Gabriel, do you have anything else to
I
add?
was just going to reiterate that, but I think Wendy's done a fine job,
Okay.
so.
I think if we went out there, I don't know how many of you did, and it doesn't matter right now, but it's pretty much undeveloped in that area. And this may be a catalyst to get something growing of this nature out in that area. You want to come back, sir? I can bring you back one time.
Yeah, the property beside me, 207 Ponciana, Joyce,
That's okay.
Davis. She has the same last name as me, no relations. She just bought that property. I do know 5 years ago that house had caught fire and it's been condemned. I think her intentions is to demo all that out there and just keep it for her grandkids. Because I did speak with her. And part of my well house is because I wanted to mount my solar panels on the well house.
You had
And
to
I
have
needed one
size
big
to do
enough
it.
to hold all the solar panels, because anything smaller, then I got to do pole mount, and with being in hurricane state,
Right,
I
right.
didn't need them all being blown off. They're more secure on a roof
Okay,
than they are on a pole. But I was going to let y'all know, I know the 12 acres beside me is all fixing to be demoed and just left for
enough natural.
a 13-year-old grandchild until she gets old enough to buy a property. You
Well,
know,
and
build
we
a
have
house.
no one who's come forth to speak.
It's going to be a long time, so it'll be
Yeah.
vacant. And my neighbor beside me, he's all for it.
Good.
He's been actually out there helping me mark off where all my fruit trees are going to go and all that, so he's all for it. And I know the person that owns the land in front of me, he's some kind of county something for North Carolina, and he bought that land for his 3-year-old grandchild.
Okay,
So the land's going to be undeveloped for a long time.
that's good to know.
So I wanted to let y'all know that all the land around me is going to be undeveloped for quite
Okay.
a few years. And thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions of staff, of the applicant, or of each other? I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve R21-014.
And do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a proper motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All opposed? Mr. Davis, we're happy to tell you that this will now move on to the Board of County Commissioners on September 28th, and I'm really glad that I visited out there on a dry day. So, but I love the woods, and it's a pretty place out there you have, so good luck. And thank you so much. Well, thank you so much. Is there any new business to come before the board? Gabriel, would you give us an update on the comprehensive plan, because that all came back to us after our last meeting? It's good.
So, staff is working on revisions to the comprehensive plan for the final adoption right now. It'll probably be another 1 to 2 months before the process is finalized. We're working to address comments from the Department of Economic Opportunity and revise some maps that needed to be revised.
And would you please tell the commission what all the Department of Economic Opportunity asked us to do?
Sure. They had some comments, and I can send you their comment sheet if anyone would like it. In fact, I can probably just send it to the entire
I
Planning
think that would
Commission.
probably be good.
That'd be good.
And they had concerns about urban sprawl. They had concerns that we did not have sufficient language in there to prevent urban sprawl due to the increase in density in our agricultural areas. So we're working to add some language in there that will address those concerns. And then they also had a concern that a map of ours, the wellfield map specifically, did not meet Florida state statute requirements. It didn't show all of our well fields on it, and it didn't show well field radii, which are protection zones for those well fields. So
And those are community wells.
that's right, community scale potable water wells. So that process is taking a little longer because we're having to reach out to private utility companies, which are the majority of our community-scale potable wells here in this county, and locate their wells. But at the same time, we have to ensure that we don't put the exact location of those wells on there because it's protected information.
Right, because of
For, you
Homeland
know,
Security.
counter-terrorism procedures so that people don't poison our wells. So we have to list the general area of the well and then show the radii, but not the exact, we're not required to list the address of it or
Right.
the parcel number.
I was on one of those boards, and we had signs everywhere, you know, under Homeland Security and anti-terrorism. It's illegal to scale this fence kind of thing. So everything had to be under lock and key, and lock and key, it was double locked. So, but the bottom line is, folks, they didn't say anything was wrong. They just came back and asked us to answer 2 questions. The work you all put in over the last 18 months garnered the favor of the Department of Economic Opportunity. So I couldn't bring you all a cupcake today because you can't have food in this chamber, but consider yourselves the recipient of a virtual cupcake. You done good, and this is a good moment. So, and Gabriel, we're proud that you came in on this phase of it. And I know you can be glad you came in on this phase of it and not all of the blood, sweat, and sometimes almost tears that we had to go through. I will say that the situation with the map, while we did not catch the error, it was not our mistake. That was the omission of the consultant. So the only thing that really comes back on us is that we didn't fail to address the urban sprawl question. And let's face it, we can do that. I have faith in staff. So that's where we stand with the comprehensive plan. And that's a good place to stand with a comprehensive plan. So hopefully within the next 2 months, the next thing that has to happen, do we have to send it back to DEO for final approval, or does it just go before the Board of County Commissioners?
It just goes before the Board of County Commissioners for the final adoption, and then we transmit to DEO just the final adopted version. And I will say we have 2 statutory obligations that we have to put in this
Right. Revision.
this revision, one of them being, most importantly, being the property rights element that was recently passed by the legislature. They are rejecting any transmittals that don't have the property rights element in it. So we have no choice but to include it in this adoption phase. So.
But
Could you
by and
explain that?
Sure. So the legislature passed a law requiring that any municipality or county include in its comprehensive plan an element formatted in a goals, objectives, and policies format, stating it's sort of like a really short Florida Citizens Bill of Rights. It's kind of redundant. We already have most of the language in our comprehensive plan, but it was just something that the legislature wanted reiterated very clearly in a separate portion of the comprehensive plan.
And this will all come back to us before it goes to the BOCC, correct?
That's what I'm not sure. I don't believe that the final adoption of the comprehensive plan does, but because we're adding that language,
That element.
it may have to. So I'll have to speak to our legal counsel about that and get back with you about that.
I would hope that all of it would come back to us so you could just point out what's been changed.
Certainly.
So that this board can be engaged in that process.
Okay.
We were heavily engaged throughout, and I think we've taken ownership of this document pretty heavily.
Well, and if anything, we will certainly share with you and strike through an underlined format the changes that we
Great.
include.
We don't have to approve it, but I think the element we probably would have to approve, wouldn't we?
That's a question
That's
that
the
I'm trying to
question
get
for Rich.
answered. I think we can include it in the final adoption just because they'll reject any final adoption of anything
Right.
without it, and so it's kind of like
And this
catch-22.
is pretty much pro forma. We could take whatever anybody else has said, right?
That's right. The difference with this one is that I don't know of a single one that's adopted it yet.
Okay.
So we'll have to either create our own language or take language that has passed muster, so,
Okay, blaze a trail. Thank you, Gabriel.
okay.
Any other new business? We do have the approval of the minutes from the June 9th, 2021 meeting. They are in your packet. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion for their approval.
Also move we approve the minutes. Second.
Okay, Tom and Jerry. Sit next to those two. Okay. Tom and Jerry. I think that's good. I like that. Okay, any discussion? All those in favor of the minutes, of the motion to approve the minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any of those opposed? Okay, we've approved the minutes. Do I hear any other business that needs to come before the board?
Madam Chair, can we discuss what you talked to us about before the meeting?
We can.
The question.
I don't want to get into a whole lot of discussion, and I'm going to turn to Mr. Perry for clarification on this. Well, whatever Joel has to ask her.
Well-
If I can't do it, I'm going to look at him.
The question I have is that I didn't quite understand what you were trying to say. Were you trying to say that we voted no, we weren't in the best of the interest of the county? And we were just, I wasn't tracking exactly what you were trying to say.
Well, and I was probably obfuscating the fact there, Joel. I think I know what I was trying to say is that we have to be careful when we vote to make sure that we vote according to the goals and objectives of the comprehensive plan and the land development code and the best interest of Putnam County. And I know that in many cases, we may feel contrary to what's being brought before us. And it's okay to vote no. But I think stating that, and I think the statement that was made was, I don't like it because it's government overreach. We don't have a choice with some of this stuff. And this was one of those things that property insurance would have gone through the roof for people who lived in those districts had we not done this. And I'm not going to criticize anyone for how you voted. I'm just simply conveying some of what I was told. We sometimes have to swallow the big one so we can get the minnow. You know, we have to swallow the shark so we can have the sea bass. But I in no way imply that you did something wrong. I'm just saying that we have to be careful to separate fact from feelings. And, but I respect every one of you because each and every one of you has the utmost amount of integrity, and you bring that to this board every time you walk in this door. And I can say that today without any question.
You know, one of the problems I had with that, if I remember all this correctly, was that it seems to me like another government agency was
Right.
expressing their, I'm not really sure how to say it, their
Well-
opinion of what that thing's supposed to be saying. And frankly, my opinion was they were misrepresenting it. So, you know, I'm not really sure where we stand in a situation like that.
I'm not
I didn't
either.
feel like it was in the best interest of the county.
Yeah.
That was my feeling too, and I know they say that the insurance rates would go through the roof, but there's other areas that have not adopted that, and their insurance rates
Right.
are not substantially higher. They're a little higher, but if you and I'm not trying to sell you on my beliefs in that.
No.
But what my experiences with it in day-to-day life and dealing with people trying to get what they want on a piece of property they purchased, that's a bad deal. And I know the county had to adopt it. But, you know, from my standpoint, that's the county commissioner's deal. You know, I don't know, should we kind of vote what we think the county commissioners want to be voted? Because that's not what I didn't
You
think
make
that's
an
what we're-
independent decision, and I respect your independent decision. I think that it's important that all the facts be looked at. This is one of those questions that's being raised due to sea level rise and due to tidal changes that we're going to experience along the St. Johns River, or potentially, and we're already seeing some of those effects of tidal rise. So this is where that came from with the state, and I think it was passed down from FEMA, because there've been too many claims for manufactured homes that were in that special flood zone. See, this is only the special flood zone. It's not everywhere. And unfortunately, we've seen the 500-year floodplain breached so many times in the past 5 years. And it's a scary thing. We can see it along all of the waterways in Putnam County that are affected by tides. We see the changes. So, but regardless of that, your integrity is what counts to me. And you're the one who has to walk out of this room and be comfortable with what you voted. And I will never question how you voted. It may be why you voted that way, but get a little heartburn, and I got a lot of heartburn. Let me tell you, it was given back to me. I'm just conveying what I was like. They can't do that. Well, they can. And I respect what they do, but I want to make sure they understand the angst that we've all gone through with this.
I guess the other question I would have is, does the county not have any means, any whatever, to question those types of things being brought
Sit down.
on us, either from the state or from FEMA or anyone else? Because I thought that the thing I guess that was on my mind was when I looked at a mobile home, okay, that didn't have any ductwork whatsoever under it, how that could be compared to a concrete slab home. A concrete slab home can be built lower than, it
can be
just
underwashed.
doesn't make sense.
You know,
It's not right.
It's not right.
I agree, and I know a little bit about construction science, and I know that there's a lot of irregularities in a lot of the regulations that we have to follow. I had conflict with the Southern Building Code, I can't tell you how many times when I was building libraries. But, you know, I think this is something that the county does have redress through our representation. And we do have a state representative who's very much in touch with our natural resources and the value of our natural resources. So this was one of those things that was passed down and passed down. So we're the lowest level. I haven't seen anything come before some of the city commissions yet on this particular requirement. But Mr. Perry, do you have anything to add?
Madam Chair, briefly, I think that just to be clear that no one would ever suggest that a member of this board not vote their conscience.
Right.
But I do believe that our Board of County Commissioners, as well as the citizens of Putnam County, expect our board members, not only this board, but any advisory board, would make their decision based on a careful examination of relevant facts and circumstances and reason to reach their decision. I don't know of any occasion since I've been on serving as legal counsel for any of our boards where I didn't think that our board members did exactly that. I think we're fortunate to be here in Putnam County where reason does prevail, and we're not afraid to look at empirical evidence and reach decisions that need to be made for the betterment of this county. And I'll stop at that, Madam Chair.
That's okay, and I will echo that. And what I will say is, and I have said this to the Board of County Commissioners time and time again, when they assembled you all to sit on this board, they made the best decision I have seen them make in years. And because I would not want to serve with, I have never known a better group of people, and believe me, over the years I've worked with a lot of public boards, and I've never worked with a board of this character, of this integrity, of this depth of knowledge and passion. And I think part of it goes back to passion. You have to balance that passion and personal verve, that personal feeling with what we're being asked to do, and how do we make a sandwich out of that. But you all, I'm not criticizing anyone, I'm just passing on, please convey to the please convey to the Planning Commission. Okay, I'm please conveying. I have conveyed, and I really appreciate this conversation. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you all, so. And Tom and Jerry down here, you know, my two cartoon friends. It's good to have them sitting on my right, and it is great to have Joel and Joey and Aaron sitting on my left, because I feel like the inside of the sandwich. I feel like you all have really put it together. It's a good feeling, so thank you. And is there anything else?
Madam Chair, just one last thing.
Of course, Mr. Perry.
One of the things I believe that sometimes goes overlooked as far as what our boards do is that somebody has to provide information to us. And in this case, recently, it's been Gabriel and Wendy. And we all know that they're both relatively new to the position. But I have an opportunity to see them work on pretty much a weekly, sometimes a daily basis. And I think we're fortunate to have both of them here. I think that Gabriel has taken on this position and has done an outstanding job. I think that Wendy has done an outstanding job keeping us informed and laying out what we really need to know. And believe me, it's a hard job.
It's not an easy job.
It
and,
is
you
a
know,
hard job.
This is
But
not
but
the
they
only
don't
thing.
get, they don't get too many, in fact, I don't know if they get any recognition, but
Well,
they
you
do
know,
deserve it. They've
and
done
they
an
don't get very
excellent
many
job.
meetings like today, or very many cases like today's case.
Exactly.
And this is not the only thing they do. And it's been amazing to watch the two of you just hit the ground running and not stop and not look back and not say, oh, we can't do it. So we're very proud of you. And
Thank
thank you,
you.
Mike, for bringing that up.
Thank you
And
very
Gabriel,
much.
I think you might have something else to add.
Yes, I just wanted to clarify that we are available, we are very busy, but we are available to answer any questions that you all may have on individual items. As long as it's not two commissioners coming at the same time,
Yep.
we can.
Yeah, we can't do that. And just don't blindside them. If there's something that you feel like you need to discuss and you need clarification on, call them up. Talk to them ahead of the meeting. Because we don't want to put them on the spot and make them look bad. And remember, we are broadcast on YouTube. So I don't know how many people watch it, but we are. And
Yeah, and with land development, and thank you, Madam Chairman, for recognizing me. With land development code changes, they can be complicated, and so any questions that you have, you can send us over email or call us or meet with us. The last one we had on the floodplain issues was a bit complicated, and if you all have any other questions on it, we're happy to help. I and Don Peckham, who graciously presented that item, are certified floodplain managers, so we can answer any questions that you have.
we are so grateful and so fortunate in Putnam County to have this team assembled that they put together.
This conversation has brought up one other question to my mind.
Well, Mr. Hafter, you may bring that question up.
I know what the relationship between members of this commission should be, or by law. What about between a member of this commission and a member of the county commission? The same rules abide then?
What was the
Well,
question?
they can't, two of them can't meet together, no
I'm
more
talking
than,
about one of us and one of them.
I think you're fine there. I certainly communicate with all of them on a regular
I do
basis.
too, that's why I'm asking
Yeah.
the question.
Yeah, me too. And,
As long as
So, I
we're,
mean, I would never, commit to a vote per what a county commissioner says or vice versa.
Right.
But I don't think there's any issue meeting with county
and
commissioners.
communicating, I think it's very open.
It is open.
As long as we don't say, now you tell me how you want me to vote on this because I know you have interest in it. No, do that.
I would never say that to anybody.
No, ever, no. But I think, I think it's important for us to have communication with anyone on the county commission, and especially those who appoint us. And I think that's very, very critical. And I think the more we do that, the better the relationship is and the better our product will be. So, and I encourage you to go to the county commission meetings.
one other thing. If we email you, we don't email it to everybody. We just email you. I mean, that's, I just want to, because I think I did that one time and I got in trouble
Yeah, I
for
did too.
emailing everybody thinking that was,
That's correct. So please don't email or copy anybody.
Just want to clarify, make
But
sure.
what
that
can
you don't-
happen is we can email Gabriel, and Gabriel can say, you know, this is something everybody needs to read, and Gabriel can then in turn send it out
I'll
to
blind
everyone.
carbon copy everybody, and then no
Right.
one can respond. You won't have the option to respond other than to just me.
Now, I did send an email to all of the county commissioners after the last meeting. And I didn't send it to you all because I couldn't. I sent it to Mike, I sent it to Gabriel, I sent it to Rich Commando, and I sent it to Terry Suggs, as well as the 5 commissioners. So, but if you want that, you can get Gabriel to send it to you. But I think I pretty well outlined the things that I discussed in my email with them at this meeting. But just know beyond any question that everyone sitting in this room has my total appreciation, respect, and gratitude. And I think we all feel that way. I think we do. Joey, Tom, or Aaron, do you have anything you want to add? You've been quiet during this discussion.
I'm good.
I'm good. It's all been answered. I'm good.
I have no more questions,
Are you sure?
and neither does Joel.
Okay, it's not even 5 o'clock, folks. You've done a good job, and I do appreciate you, and I will call this meeting officially adjourned at 4:41 p.m.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very good.